This video, we're talking about bone and tree magic based on the amazing comments that you left on my videos from the last few months. If you haven't, you probably want to check those out before watching this. I am still feeling struck by the quality of your responses. I did not expect the kind of thoughtful and creative ideas that emerged from the tree and bone magic videos and are still rolling in from the glass wielding video that I released last week. Some people, I assume, like working in creative isolation, but I am not one of those people. I'm constantly bouncing ideas around with my writing group, beta readers, friends, and mostly with my wife. The back and forth, at the very least, helps me to see if my ideas are as compelling and as sensical as I believe they are, and at the best exposes new elements to world building and story that I might not have considered myself. You all seem to grasp and understand my magic systems on a deep level, all from a 7-minute introduction. I think there's so much richness packed into the duality between bones and trees, and I'm really excited to see people agree. I'm categorizing these comments into mechanics, extrapolations, culture, and other connections. How do exoskeletons work? For example, someone using a lobster shell or a mollusk shell. Exoskeleton magic will definitely be in the series, but not in book 1. And I have a few cultural ideas for how to incorporate it, but I'm still working on how exoskeleton magic will function, except for being a thin, skin-tight armor. Any entomologists out there, feel free to share some ideas. Bones having the same general function, regardless of what species they originate from, has an interesting implication. This could allow some unique or exotic bones to have very interesting magical applications. After seeing this video, I did a quick Google search and found stingrays. Their skeleton is insane. Yes, it is. Check it out. There are many interesting skeletons that are not found in the human body that will appear in the Blink series, with very particular magics. Horns, tails, wings, fangs, to name a few. Though the baculum will not appear. Fanfic writers, have at it. But I'll go ahead and share the use of fang magic. It's consumptive and tears the way that fangs do, but on a spiritual rather than a physical level. Bonelings will carry fangs to impale and absorb spirits called shadow leaks. Now you need mushroom magic for all the kingdoms of life. Nothing gets by you all. There is indeed a third magic system in Blink of the Four Winds which deserves its own video, and it's connected to the functionality of the fungi kingdom. It's called windsmithing. If tree magic is life and bone magic is death, then windsmithing is the bridge between the two. Windsmiths being the masters of decomposition and reconstruction. A forbidden spell that causes all the bones in your body to impale, extend, and warp around your muscles, and grants you almost godlike strength that no other magic but yours can penetrate. An ultimate defense, and a final stand. So a few people mentioned the use of bones in your own body, and many mentioned Kimimaro from Naruto, which I had totally forgotten about when crafting this system. Yes, this will be in there, and yes, the cost will be high. This one's awesome but long, so I'm just gonna pull a few things from it. Maybe the larger a bone is left, the more qualities of the creature it came from will present themselves in you. Almost like you're stoking the embers of life essence left in the bones with your own spirit. That's so cool. This would also be a great way to emphasize how scary a boneling that uses human bones can be. They can glean memories and learn their secrets, or take the bones from a living person and give them bones to control them like a thrall. There could be a cult that tries to graft bones onto magic users with great potential to resurrect them with more power. So the connection between bones, the past, memories, etc. is in book 1 and is connected to skull magic. But the use of bones to glean a window into others' lives and potentially resurrect the dead through necromancy, such a good idea. It won't be a common practice at all, but a distinct boneling sect will probably have the ability. Okay, similar idea but different. As you said, bones can communicate and pain is important. It could be a good idea that when you bond with a bone, you feel all the pain the person or animal felt throughout their life, and more powerful or important bones like the femur or spine create stronger, more powerful pain and emotions. Okay, so I don't want this to be something that happens every time, because bonelings cycle through bones often. The bones only last for 30 minutes to an hour depending on the aptitude of the user. So having to deal with the pain of a previous life every time you insert bones could start to get pretty tedious. But I think this concept could be reserved for bonelings who are extra sensitive. I really enjoy a system where there's a cost for your development. So in other words, here, the more spiritually sensitive a boneling becomes, the more burden it exerts upon them to take life and use the bones of the dead. Which leads us nicely into... While you mentioned the tree magic focuses on harmony, gathering, etc., while the bone magic focuses on pain, etc., would the bone magic users have a culture that respects life? because they know the power of death. For example, some more primitive cultures would never kill something and not use the whole animal. Would bone users have a similar philosophy due to its disciplined nature, or would they be more inclined to brutish carnage to acquire power? So absolutely yes, and. So every human in the secondary world of Erla is either a treeling or a boneling, with the exception of windsmiths, as I mentioned, who are exceedingly rare. It's a high magic world. So therefore, there are hundreds of thousands of bonelings populating the continents. They're in diverse settings, plains, forests, alpine regions, and deserts, and have diverse cultural practices and values. Many bonelings are brutish, ruthless killers, but others have a great reverence for life. So far, this magic system seems all about taking what of giving, whether it be a treeling offering up their bones to a tree or a boneling giving a bone to another for healing. In the case of bone magic, the mage should have the option of using their own bones. All magics work on equivalent exchange, no matter how little. So what happens when a caster gives instead of takes? Every time someone says equivalent exchange, warm memories of Full Metal Alchemist bubble up inside. This is such a good point. I'll make one reference to how this plays out in tree magic. When it comes to dark tree magic, there is a requirement for the tree to hand over itself as a form of sacrifice. And then the treeling cuts the entire tree down, releasing an incredibly powerful burst of magic. The tree will decide to do this either because it's the right thing to do for the sake of the larger environment, because of respect for the treeling, or because the treeling has such a dominating presence that the tree submits. The treeling then unlocks a vicious and deadly power, one unique to every tree genus in magic. But many treelings become addicted to that power, trying to cut down trees to access the magic, but they can't because the trees won't offer themselves again to such a person. They become lost, wandering the forests uselessly. For pain, it could be interesting for people working with bone magic to use herbs and other extracts to numb pain in addition. It could lead to interesting links. For example, salicylic acid, a painkiller, is derived from the bark of willow trees. Yeah, gotta love the tree-bone crossover. There will be lots of this in the series, in addition to absolute mistrust and conflict. It's both there. I know an insane bone, the scaphoid, aka the dead man's box, one of, if not the worst bone in the human body to break. While it may not be deadly, I imagine a necrotic bone rotting in your body would make you sick/kill you. I broke my scaphoid and took almost a year before I was out of cast and then into a brace for another 2 months. A year in a cast sounds horrible. So the idea of a necrotic bone, a bone that's infected that will kill you, is sort of in there, but I'd be interested in expanding upon that idea. But the scaphoid is in part of the hand, which is how we grab, hold, build, etc. In ironing out the system, I've decided that the hands are going to be connected to this insane, real syndrome. This just made me remember a very rare condition called Stone Man syndrome, where instead of repairing wounds with muscles, they go through a process called ossification, where everything that got wounded gets replaced with bone, effectively petrifying that body part. So hand magic connected to Stone Man syndrome, where the body gets gripped and built out of bone. I'll let you fill in the gaps. I was heavily sick and really shouldn't have been in the PSAT, with a fever and complete fatigue, and I think because of that, I've been more able to keep control of my emotions and mental state to the point that even when I feel great pain, I can nearly nullify it simply by doing as you said and focusing on the sensation. I realized I could do this just with the knowledge of what pain even is, being intense signals sent to the brain meant to alert you to damage in a specific location, like a ship's computer blaring on the screen in the control room of the ship that there is damage in the lower hull. It's because of this that I learned to do exactly that technique, and it's really interesting how my perspective lets me see these sorts of things differently and makes me love your ways of making magic systems. Thank you, that's amazing. And this wasn't the only person who used a similar technique to pain gazing in their life. I can't explain how incredible it is to have my magic systems, which are essentially my way of making sense of the world, resonate with other people, with their ideas, their passions, and even their lived experiences. You all haven't even read the books yet, and you're helping me to accomplish every creator's dream, to mean something to people and to make us feel understood. I'm totally inspired to keep these conversations going. In this video, I didn't even touch the original ideas that people shared unrelated to bone and tree magic that were also incredible. Go check those out for yourself. Additionally, I'm going to be ramping up my Patreon over the next couple weeks. Free members members will get updates and exclusive content, and paid members will receive early, raw chapters, and the chance to read my books even before they release, among many other ideas I can't quite talk about yet. Thank you for your incredible engagement so far. Much, much more is on the way. If you enjoyed that video, you can learn more about my world building by watching my videos on tree and bone magic. Support my books and educational work on Patreon. Subscribe for more videos that I hope will inspire and uplift you. Godspeed.